Hello, everybody. These are the video notes for 4.1, solving equations using the circle method. In the first example, we're going to solve for x in this equation. 3 times x plus 20, and then all of that is divided by 2. And so let's set up our circle. We're going to put the variable that we're solving for at the top. So we're solving for x. And I'm going to put, oops, I didn't finish the equation. The equation is equal to 60. Here we go. And then I'm going to put the value that the equation is equal to, which is 60. That goes at the bottom. And on the right side of the circle, I'm going to write all of the operations that are happening to x in order in the equation. So the first thing that's happening to x is inside the parentheses. We're adding 20 to x. So I'm going to put a plus 20 here. After we add 20 with x, then the next thing that's happening is all of that's being multiplied by 3. So I'm going to put a times 3 here. After we multiplied everything by 3, the last thing that happens in the equation is everything is divided by 2. So I'm going to put a divided by 2 symbol here. And then I get to 60. Now, to do the left side of the circle, I'm going to write the inverse operations of each of these. Remember, inverse operations is the opposite, how to undo something. And I like to work from the bottom and go to the top. So the opposite of dividing by 2, the inverse operation of that would be multiplying by 2. Next, the inverse operation of multiplying by 3 would be dividing by 3. And then the inverse operation of adding 20 would be to subtract 20, and then that brings us back to x. So now, to figure out what x equals, I'm going to go to the bottom of the circle and then work my way up around the left of the circle to get back to x. And I'm going to do each of these inverse operations on the left here. So I start with 60. Then as we come along to the left, the first thing that happens is we're multiplying by 2. So I'm going to do 60 times 2. That is equal to 120. Then I'm going to take that 120, and then I'm going to keep going around the circle. So the next thing that happens is we're dividing it by 3. So I'll do 120 divided by 3. That equals 40. Then I take that 40, and then I keep going around the circle to work my way back towards x. The next step is to subtract 20. So 40 minus 20 is equal to 20, and that brings me back to x. So now I know that x is equal to 20. And now I've just solved for x. How can we check our answer to make sure that that's correct? I'm going to substitute in 20 in for x in the original equation. So it would be 3 times, and then I'm substituting in 20 for x. So I have 20 instead of x. And then I write the rest of the equation, plus 20, all of that divided by 2 is equal to 60. And now I'm going to simplify the rest of this equation and see if I get a true statement. So I'd have 3 times 20 plus 20 is 40. All of that divided by 2 is equal to 60. 3 times 40 is 120. Divided by 2 is equal to 60. 120 divided by 2, 60 is equal to 60. That's a true statement. So I know that yes, 20 is the correct value for x for the equation to be true. Let's do another example. The equation is going to be 2 times n plus 6y is equal to -4. And in this, we are going to solve for n. We want to figure out what n has to be. So let's set up our circle. And notice this one's a little bit different because we have 2 variables in the equation. So it's really important to keep in mind what variable we're solving for, which is n. I'm going to put n at the top of the circle. The equation is equal to -4, so I'm going to put -4 at the bottom of the circle. Okay, right side of the circle, what are the operations that are happening to x in order? Well, n is inside the parentheses, and inside the parentheses, it's being added with 6y. That's what happens first. So I'm going to put plus 6y here. Then after we add 6y, everything's being multiplied by 2. So I'll put times 2. And then that brings us to -4. So then now I do the inverse operations on the left side of the circle. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. And the opposite of adding 6y, the inverse of that, is to subtract 6y. To figure out what n equals, let's start at the bottom of the circle, and we're going to work our way up the left side of the circle. So starting with -4, then we divide that by 2. So -4 divided by 2 is -2. And then -2, the next step is we're subtracting 6y. So I'm going to write -6y here. Now here we have an integer, and then here we have 6 times y, 6 y's. And because these are not like terms, I actually cannot combine this any further. This is as far as I can go. So I can conclude that n is equal to -2 minus 6y. We don't know what y is, so y is going to appear in our solution for what n is equal to. Let's check it. So I'm going to substitute in -2 minus 6y in for n in the original equation. So I'd have 2 times, and this is where I do my substitution, -2 minus 6y. That's what I just substituted in for n. And then now the rest of the equation, plus 6y. All of that is equal to -4. Okay, so now I have 2 times, and then I have -2 minus 6y plus 6y. So since I have a minus 6y and a plus 6y, those are actually going to cancel each other out. So then I'm just left with this -2. And all of that is equal to -4. 2 times -2 is -4, equal to -4. Checks out.